They don't do it for the accolades or praise, but for 25 years, extraordinary Australian mums have been celebrated with their own special award. Now the Barnardos Mother of the Year is coming to an end, cancelled because the charity says it doesn't reflect modern families.
Hello, I'm Paul Barry. Welcome to Media Watch. And that news saw the mother of all media storms last week as the popular charity ditched its quarter-century recognition of Australia's mums. With the story broken by Barnardos' own ambassador, 2GB's Ben Fordham, who dropped the exclusive on his show at crack of dawn last Monday.
Now, I'm going to kick off today with some news that you'll be hearing here first, and I'm very sad to report this. The Barnardos Mother of the Year award is no more.
Yes, Ben had the scoop because Barnardos told him about the decision, thanks to his ambassador role, and he did not think much of it.
I'm sorry to say that it sounds like political correctness has played a part in all of this, and it's particularly disappointing for me because I've been hosting the Barnardos Mother of the Year award for the past few years.
And that night, Ben was on 9 News to offer more advice.
Personally, I would have loved to have seen extra categories added while still celebrating amazing mums.
And Ben was not the only one at a loss over the news. Morning TV was also shedding a tear.
I think that's sad.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone's got a mum.
Gee, I don't agree with it. I think it's a wonderful thing to have mums awarded.
And on Sky News, we had a right-wing quadrella to ramp up the outrage and open a new front in the culture wars, with Rita Panahi, Peter Credlin, Alan Jones and Paul Murray all screaming political correctness.
It is disgraceful, is erasing motherhood, erasing women and these so-called diversity agendas.
We all have to be a part of the solution here and refuse to adopt those terms.
This is part of the broader push to change society as we know it, change its values.
This charity has decided that in the times of woke, we can't honour Mothers of the Year anymore. What bullshit.
But it was the Daily Telegraph that really went for broke, splashing with this front page last Tuesday.
Mum's the word.
And inside a double page of alarm.
Dishonouring thy mothers.
Where the telly had a hit list of mums that cancel culture warriors might target next, such as Mother Mary, Mother Hen, Mother of Pearl, and even poor Mama Cass. Mama Cass, dead in 1974, cancelled in 2021. It was an overwhelming defence of endangered mothers everywhere, followed by this opportunistic attempt to cash in by filling the void.
Mum of the Year!
The Daily Telegraph has picked up the baton and wants to celebrate all of the state's fabulous mothers.
And just 3 days later, the telly had crowned a winner, gonging one worthy mum on Friday's front page, by which time Barnardos was threatening legal action for pinching the name. So, what's the charity, which everyone agrees does important work in family welfare and child protection, say to all the fuss? Well, they argue a Mother of the Year award no longer reflects the real world.
In a statement, Barnardos said among families we support are sole parents, same-sex couples, families with both a mother and a father figure.
Barnardos also says it wants to redirect the money and effort it takes to run the award into its welfare services. As CEO Deirdre Cheers told WSFM,
we want to direct all our resources. We must direct our resources directly to the children and families, particularly in the current environment. It's been such a difficult 12 months for all charities.
Now, it's important to note that 2GB asked Barnardos to come on the show Monday morning to explain their decision, and perhaps unwisely, they declined. So, why wouldn't Ben Fordham break the news? He told Media Watch,
the email was neither embargoed or sent in confidence. We gave Barnardos 3 days' notice of our intention to publish the story. Our reporting was factual and compassionate.
But the charity is fuming nevertheless. For now, Fordham remains a Barnardos ambassador. We're not sure how long that will last. Barnardos told Media Watch,
we are very disappointed that the media appeared to deliberately misrepresent our intentions. Our staff have been subjected to some vile verbal and written abuse from individuals we suspect had never even heard of Barnardos or the awards.
So, what's the takeout from this frenetic media pile-on? Well, if you're going to kill a popular award, especially one involving mums, you better make sure you've got your PR lined up to manage the storm and reduce the damage. But now, to a hot front-page story in the same Sydney tabloid last week, involving a real estate agent, a samurai sword and an alleged violent crime.
A prominent Sydney real estate agent accused of attacking two women, one of them with a samurai sword, will remain in police custody. 44-year-old Carl Howard was still in hospital recovering from his own injuries this morning when his matter was heard in court.
And the details presented in court last week were certainly shocking.
It was 5 o'clock on Monday morning when he allegedly punched his 27-year-old girlfriend. As her friend attempted to intervene, Howard allegedly turned on her too, lashing out at the 29-year-old with a samurai sword.
Howard has now been charged with attempted murder and assault. And, no surprise, the Daily Telegraph went big on the story with this page one exclusive from his former partner 2 days after he was charged.
He's just a good guy. Ex-partner of agent accused of samurai sword attack struggles to comprehend the allegations. Carl Howard's former partner, Rebecca Duncan.
Rebecca Duncan, also a real estate agent, was in a relationship with the accused for 6 years. And after the telly phoned her several times, she eventually agreed to speak to the reporter, which is why she also featured inside, saying,
"We're very worried for him. He's scared."
According to the telly's story, Rebecca had broken up with Howard 6 months ago, and he had been struggling to come to terms with the split. It claimed he also thought he was going to spend the rest of his life with her. Duncan says they actually split 18 months ago, and he had moved on. But, more alarmingly, she was horrified the Daily Telegraph identified her. According to Duncan, after being contacted 4 times over 2 days by telly reporter Danielle Gosmaroli,
I agreed to give her a small comment on the proviso that it was confidential and my name and photograph were explicitly not to be included. She agreed to this.
Rebecca is adamant about this and told Media Watch she only agreed to be quoted on her understanding she would not be identified. And as soon as she realised her name and photo was out there, she texted the reporter angrily to say,
"Take it down."
Gosmaroli told her she could not. But this was not their first exchange. Some hours earlier, when the first version of the story went online, using her name and a quote, Rebecca had messaged Gosmaroli to say,
"Please, I'm begging you not to print my name in your articles."
She had also questioned a quote the telly had used, saying,
"Really? Can't remember that coming out of my mouth."
To which the reporter had responded,
"That's coming out now. I had told the online team earlier to remove it until I had spoken with you and they had forgotten."
So, what does the telly have to say? Well, it rejects Rebecca's claims that she was promised anonymity. Editor Ben English told us,
"They are false and damaging to the reputation of our reporter, who conducted herself with the utmost professionalism. We stand behind our reporter."
In a response to a written complaint, the paper's managing editor also pushed back, telling Rebecca,
"You engaged with the journalist, providing quotes for the story. Even after being informed we would use your name. We acknowledge that you did ask for no photographs to be used, but we did not agree to this."
But one of Rebecca's work colleagues backs up her understanding that she would not be identified. Simone Azzi heard the conversation with the telly because it was on speaker, and she told Media Watch she too believed an agreement had been reached. And Simone sent this angry email to Gosmaroli when she realised Rebecca was being outed after all.
"Danielle, you should be ashamed of yourself publishing pictures of Rebecca. How dare you? This incident is traumatic enough as it is, and to now have her face and name published is damaging and hurtful. You have called her several times for comment. She gave you a few quotes and asked you politely, after you pushed her for comment, to please not publish her name, to which you agreed. The report was previously mentioned earlier today as Ms. Duncan, and you have now updated it with her full name and picture, going against what you had promised. This is disgusting, hurtful and damaging to this beautiful woman who had nothing to do with this terrible incident."
Rebecca has now lodged a complaint with the Press Council. We'll let you know what happens. So, how should you avoid this happening to you? Well, brutally, if you don't want to be in the story, don't speak to the reporter. And if you want to remain anonymous and not have your name or photo used, get the deal in writing. It is best to be cautious, especially if you're dealing with a hungry tabloid. But now, let's go to the United States and salute the passing of a legend.
We have a president who is a true leader, in my opinion, one I happen to believe will be regarded as one of this country's greatest presidents, indeed our greatest. This is a man who multitasks. He is smart. He is filled with energy. Nobody's a close second. He's already set a standard for presidents that most mortals won't be able to meet.
Yes, Donald Trump, who was impeached and acquitted for a second time last week, set a standard for president we hope no one will match. But you could almost say the same of Fox News host Lou Dobbs, Trump's admirer-in-chief, who followed Donald out the door 9 days ago when his nightly show on Fox was cancelled. And why was that? Well, it happened the day after Dobbs was named in one of the largest defamation actions in US history, in which voting machine manufacturer Smartmatic may deal a lethal blow to fake news.
A voting technology company suing Fox News, 3 of its top hosts, and 2 former lawyers for President Donald Trump over election fraud claims. Smartmatic filed a $2.7 billion lawsuit stating election conspiracy theories jeopardize their company's survival. Those named in the lawsuit are Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, and Fox News hosts Lou Dobbs, Jeanine Pirro, and Maria Bartiromo.
Lou Dobbs was a key player in the crazy stolen election narrative that riled up Trump's supporters and helped push an unruly mob to storm the Capitol. Indeed, as the New York Times reported last week, his show
had become so packed with falsehoods about Mr. Trump's defeat that Fox Business was forced to run a fact-checking segment debunking some of its own anchors' assertions.
Repeatedly on Lou Dobbs Tonight, Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell were allowed to accuse Smartmatic of voting fraud and stealing the election, causing the company to claim it will lose hundreds of millions of dollars in profit and may go out of business. Here are a couple of examples.
It's Smartmatic, which is a company that was founded in 2005 in Venezuela for the specific purpose of fixing elections. That's their expertise, how to fix elections.
We have evidence of how they flipped the votes, how it was designed to flip the votes.
Lou Dobbs backed up those baseless claims of electoral fraud on his Twitter account. And last month he lamented the fact it was so devilishly hard to find any proof.
We're 8 weeks from the election and we still don't have verifiable, tangible support for the crimes that everyone knows were committed.
So, can Fox News defend the case? Well, you can't show the claims are true because there's zero evidence, and multiple courts have rejected them. And because Smartmatic machines were only used in one county in one state, so it couldn't have fixed the election even if it had wanted to. But Fox does have a defence, arguing that the suit is a blatant attack on freedom of the press, which is guaranteed by the First Amendment, and that it was merely giving a platform to an important debate. CNN's Brian Stelter, who is not a legal expert, takes issue with that.
This lawsuit's not about press freedom. It's about liars on television lying in order to desperately help the outgoing president of the United States, not calling to ask for information from the company, not trying to get the facts right, but just entertaining their viewers with damaging lies.
Smartmatic claims that Dobbs and the other hosts joined the chorus, and that they knew the claims of a stolen election were just not true. Indeed, the statement of claim begins,
"The earth is round. 2 + 2 = 4. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won the 2020 election for President and Vice President of the United States. The election was not stolen, rigged, or fixed. These are facts. They are demonstrable and irrefutable. Defendants have always known these facts."
But Fox may have an answer to that too. In a previous lawsuit against top-rating host Tucker Carlson, who accused a Playboy model of extorting $150,000 from Donald Trump in return for staying silent about their affair, Fox News argued that Carlson couldn't be taken seriously by viewers and should not be believed.
That Carlson is not stating actual facts about the topics he discusses and is instead engaging in exaggeration and non-literal commentary.
Amazingly, the judge bought that argument. So, who is likely to win this time? Well, it's far easier for the media to defend a defamation case in the US than it is here, so Fox may escape. But this is not the only action on the blocks. Trump's lawyers, Giuliani and Powell, are also being sued for $1.3 billion apiece by another big voting machine manufacturer, Dominion. And other networks are in the firing line from Smartmatic. One American News Network and Newsmax, Fox's even nuttier competitors, were warned in December that they would be sued by Smartmatic unless they retracted false claims about the election being stolen. And those threats have had an instant effect. 2 weeks ago, Newsmax hurriedly shut down an ardent Trump supporter, Mike Lindell, also known as My Pillow Guy, when he tried to spout his theories of election fraud on a live cross.
Mike, thank you very much. Mike, you're talking about machines that we at Newsmax have not been able to verify any of those kinds of allegations. We just want to let people know that there's nothing substantive that we've seen. And let me read you something there. While there were some clear evidence of some cases of vote fraud and election irregularities, the election results in every state were certified, and Newsmax accepts the results as legal and final. The courts have also supported that view.
Amazing stuff. And 4 days later, One American News Network was so concerned that it put up this massive disclaimer ahead of 2 hours of airtime My Pillow Guy had bought on their network.
The statements and claims expressed in this program are presented at this time as opinions only and are not intended to be taken or interpreted by the viewer as established facts.
So, will all this have a lasting effect on fake news? Who knows? There is, unfortunately, no law to make the media tell the truth. But it's a tantalising prospect that when a company or a person is defamed, the courts may be able to shut down bald-faced lies. Because in 4 years of Trump's presidency, nothing else got close to achieving that result. That's all from us tonight. There's more on our website, where you can stream or download the programme and read statements from Barnardos, The Telegraph and Ben Fordham. And don't forget, Media Bites every Thursday on your favourite social media platform. But for now, until next week, goodbye.